Horror movies are synonymous for giving viewers a chilling experience with scary imagery, psychotic killers, and women who are often portrayed as sex objects. With movies such as the 1960 film Psycho, the Friday the 13th film series, and the Halloween franchise, women are portrayed as weaker vessels who are used for sexual activity. However, one little film changed that perspective altogether. That film is the 1991 Jonathan Doom psychological horror film, The Silence of the Lambs. The film tells the chilling story of FBI trainee Clarice Starling, portrayed by Jodie Foster, as she attempts to crack the case of Buffalo Bill, a serial killer who skins women and is portrayed by Ted Levine. With the help of Hannibal Lecter, a psychiatrist serving 9 consecutive life sentences for murder involving cannibalism, and portrayed by Anthony Hopkins, Starling delves deeper into the minds of the criminally insane. In this film, Clarice is portrayed as a woman who is working with a male population in the FBI. She is the cliched weaker vessel. However, she turns that on its head by being able to put herself in danger to try and solve a case that is chilling for any one person to view. Because this fictional case involves females who are murdered and skinned alive by a crazed serial killer, many viewers would think that Clarice would be disturbed by this, but she is not disturbed by this in the slightest. In fact, she makes herself strong and does not show any negative emotion when investigating a corpse of one of the victims of Buffalo Bill. This goes against how females are portrayed in horror films, but The Silence of the Lambs' portrayal of a female character is very well done in a film with a cast that is predominantly male. However, one thing that is evident in this film that is the exact same throughout all horror films is that Clarice's character is over-sexualized. But this is in a different way than in a traditional horror flick. In traditional horror flicks, female characters are always killed off early, or they are the last girl who has to kill the main villain. In Silence of the Lambs, Clarice does kill the main villain, but she does not die at all. The main difference in that is that Clarice is talked about sexually or stared at in a more promiscuous way. One instance of this was during a funeral scene about halfway through the film. Starling is standing in a room full of male police officers. The viewer sees the men staring at Starling like she is an object. That is one reason why female characters are over-sexualized in the film. Another instance of the over-sexualization of Clarice is the way male characters speak towards her. In the first third of the film, Clarice arrives at a mental hospital where one character speaks vulgarly towards her and later spits at her with his own DNA. After all that, Clarice is seen crying in the parking lot after what had transpired. This is an indication that Clarice is not as strong as she thinks she is when dealing with men who spoke or spat at her vulgarly. On the other hand, there is a major relationship shift between Clarice and Hannibal in the film. When Clarice first encounters Hannibal in the Baltimore State Hospital for the criminally insane, she sees Hannibal as being courteous and pleasant towards her until he is given a questionnaire by her. He then begins to play psychological games with Clarice all throughout the entire film. This strikes Clarice as being very unnerving. When she tries to get answers about Buffalo Bill, Hannibal does not give her straight answers and asks her about her personal life. Clarice does try to get more answers out of Lecter, but he resists and does not answer any questions that she asks and tries to get into her head. Clarice does not let this happen and continues to try to get answers out, but eventually she ends up giving out personal information about herself to Lecter, who continues playing psychological games with her. This is one strong reason why Clarice is very strong as a female character. She is able to stay strong while trying to work with a criminal mastermind, while elsewhere, a woman is suffering in the hands of a man who is much worse than Lecter. Overall, The Silence of the Lambs portrays Clarice Starling as a strong, able-bodied woman who just happens to work in a predominantly male workplace. The film shows the risks of hunting down a dangerous criminal through its usage of human communication, showing the inner workings of the FBI, and shows the rarity of being a female in a government agency such as the FBI.